Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to episode 229 of Empty Betters. I'm your host, Harrison Scholes, and I'm going to toss it across the screen to my co-host, Mr. Nick Manella. What's going on, my friend?
A whole lot, buddy. We are so back. Hockey is in full swing. We had our first event of the year. I am fired up for the first episode of the 24-25 regular season with you boys.
Absolutely. Week one under the belt. Lots of hot takes, overreactions, and all that good stuff coming your way this episode. But before we get to that, I'm going to toss it across the screen to my other co-host up in Milwaukee, Mac Vogel. What's going on?
What's good? Yeah, I mean, honestly, I know we technically were back officially last week, or I guess it was 2 weeks ago now, but this really feels like the first real episode since we've had regular season hockey going on. So exciting stuff. I'm really excited to talk shop today. And like you said, do some overreacting, do some bitching, do some lofty predicting, all kinds of stuff.
Always one of the most fun episodes of the year when you get early season reactions to the Calgary Flames being undefeated and the Edmonton Oilers being 0-3. All that will be coming at you later this episode. But before we get to all the NHL action, couple housekeeping things. One, and this feels like a lifetime ago, but it was only what, maybe 9 or 10 days ago. Last weekend, we got to witness the Chicago Blackhawks take on the St. Louis Blues in preseason at Pfizer Forum over in downtown Milwaukee. Want to give a huge shout out to Elwood's Liquor and Tap. We hosted a nice little pregame there. Special shout out to Nathan. They also were kind enough to give us these Selly Hockey Chicago hats. I'm wearing this right now if you're watching on YouTube, and these things are sweet. Got some fun content pieces. You'll probably be seeing those on our socials. Great job to you two. And yeah, it was a great time. What do you guys got to say about that weekend?
It was fun, yeah. I mean, thank you guys for making the trip, coming out here. It's always easier for me to stay put, but yeah, I had a great time. It was cool seeing NHL hockey at Pfizer. Um, Definitely hope to see more of that in the future.
Yeah, it was awesome. And thank you again for hosting and everything and for shuttling us around. Always appreciate that. Getting picked up from the airport, that's always a huge help. And yeah, Fiserv was awesome. I mean, I didn't realize how new that venue was, but it was absolutely gorgeous on the inside. I mean, minus one or two walls up top. That place is perfect for NHL hockey.
Yep.
The Deer District rocks. A lot of entertainment right there. Big fan. Was a beautiful, beautiful evening in Milwaukee. Couldn't have asked for better conditions.
Yeah, the district outside was bumping before the game too. We were we didn't spend too much time there because as Harry mentioned, we were pre-gaming at Elwood's just right down the road. But
That's where
at,
everyone who couldn't get into Elwoods went, basically.
exactly. But no, as we entered, it was cool seeing like just a big crowd of hockey jerseys outside, people drinking, smoking cigs, hanging out, that kind of stuff.
And we finally dipped our toes into the fan interviews. You see a lot of those on TikTok and Instagram where you take the little microphones and you go around the arenas and ask people questions. Nick, I know you've been hammering away at editing those. Shout out to you. What were your thoughts on those interviews? You got a favorite one?
Oh, they're hilarious. There's some that I don't know if will get aired, but there's some gems in there for sure. It was a good time. A good time was had by all.
Yeah, that was fun.
Now, what everyone's also wondering, because if you're listening to this, you definitely follow us on Instagram and TikTok already. So you've already seen what I'm about to mention. But we took pictures. I don't know if this is legal or not. I think it is. So who cares? We took pictures of some of the coolest hockey jerseys that we saw at this preseason game, and we made a reel about it. Go watch that on our social media page if you haven't already. I want to ask you fellas, what was the coolest sweater you saw that evening?
That's tough.
I think the
Mm-mm.
Gretzky one is the obvious answer, and we'll talk about that in a second, but let's put that one aside.
Okay, so other than that one,
Yes.
there was a retro blues one, like the white that had like the diagonal lines going across the bottom on it. I forget the name that was on the back, but that one was absolutely unreal, and you could tell that was 100% real too.
The Rob Blake one was pretty class as well. That's always a fun find when you get kind of an older legend like that.
King of the butt check.
Yeah, yeah.
I love the Steve Ott Dallas
Oh man,
Stars
that was
jersey.
really good actually. That was
It,
good.
that's a hockey guy. You're like a Steve
And
Ott
like
jersey?
not even just that name, but like that era jersey too. It was like those shitty like black ones that just said Dallas on the front and had like the football
Yeah.
Didn't
like
they have like front numbers
number.
too?
Yep,
Ugh,
exactly.
big
Because
no
they were
no.
Yeah.
like, let's see, what do people in Dallas like? The Cowboys. All right, look, it's just like that. Okay.
Yeah, that the logic adds up there. But so to talk about this Gretzky jersey, in case you all haven't seen it, we witnessed a guy outside of the arena with a white Kachina Phoenix Coyotes jersey that had 99 Gretzky on the back. And it was not only so unique because he never actually played. Yes, we know he coached him. We saw these Instagram comments that were like, well, it's not that weird. He coached him.
Oh
It's like
my God. I know. It's like, yeah, but no one gets the
he
jerk. Like,
Put your glasses on, Boomer.
yeah, like
yeah.
he never played for them. That's the significance. So whatever. This
Also,
guy
like
had
no
it
one,
autographed.
no, well, that yeah, that was it a Gretzky
It
autograph?
was.
I couldn't quite tell. It looked like it was, but I couldn't quite tell what the signature said.
I
I
looked up the
assume it would be.
signature and like matched it. It's
Okay.
pretty close.
That would be even worse if it was a Gretzky jersey and someone else
It was just
autographed
like Luke
it.
Robitaille
Yeah,
autographed
right,
it.
right. No, but I do think since Gretz autographed it, he kind of gets the pass to wear it. But yeah,
100%.
back to what Harry said to all those people who were commenting like, "Oh, it's not that weird. He coached there." No one like, okay, this is coming from someone who has an Ozzie Guillen White Sox baseball jersey. That's not weird. The managers wear the jersey. So like in
Right.
baseball, that's like a thing. No one like if I saw like a Capitals like Carberry jersey or like a Trotz jersey, that would just be weird as hell. Like it just
I agree.
Also, like we all know how that went. Did he actually coach in Phoenix or did the Coyotes
oh,
just like
it
implode?
was a
Yeah,
disaster. He was not. I mean, it was kind of one of those examples of like not every star player is meant to be a coach.
or
Honestly,
literally
like
no one could have done anything with that roster, but
I mean that too, that too.
One of the two most likely. But yeah, it was a great weekend. Thank you to everyone who showed up. It was a blast. Last thing I want to touch on before we get to the actual NHL stuff. Saw Bedard live,
yes,
albeit it was preseason, but just thoughts on seeing him live and the aura that that guy has around him.
Second time
unbelievable.
for me. I got to see him last year when the Caps were in town in Chicago and Ovi did his thing, had that Hattie, but always or I guess that was 2 years ago. That wasn't Bedard. Either way, I saw Bedard last year at a Caps game in Chicago, but yeah, I mean, I thought he really shined in that preseason game. Harry, you got an awesome video of him setting up a goal on the power play. We had great seats, a great view to really kind of see him dance around and get a feel for just how fast he is and how composed he is out there. He just looks like he's,
He
not.
doesn't look down ever.
Yeah, it that is insane. That is seriously insane.
Like my face would just be glued to the top of my laces if I was trying to do that stuff.
He doesn't look like a sophomore NHLer. Like he's out.
Right.
He looks like he totally is confident out there. Isn't worried about it. Like it's impressive.
It kind of does put it into perspective just how good he is. And that's a great point you bring up, Mac, where it's like he does not look, it looks like he's been in the NHL for 5 or 6 years. He's already better than 75% of the people that have been playing in this league, and he's 19 years old.
Yeah, it was cool. It was really cool, especially in warm-ups. Like every single kid has his jersey. They're dangling it over, the bleachers and stuff. He's a rock star. And you know what? He's sick. I think he had 2 assists in that game, and then that was also the viral clip where he fought the Blues guy.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. So yeah, all in all, a great experience. Thanks to the city of Milwaukee, Mac, and all those who came
Real
to the game.
quick before we move on, do we want to
Yes.
talk about how good the three of us looked in Blackhawks gear, unfortunately?
Yeah, we do have to
We do need
talk
to
about
touch on that real
this.
quick. I mean, I if you've been listening to this show for a while, you already know you're listening to two Caps fans and a Penguins fan talk about the Blackhawks right now. And not I mean, personally just not the biggest Blackhawks fan for multiple reasons. I don't really want to get into all of it right now, but
If you know, you know.
Un undeniably some of the sickest sweaters in the league. And I mean, when you throw that tarp on and you're walking around, and then when you see a picture of yourself wearing it, you're like, oh yeah, those are good.
Yeah.
Those look really good.
It's like a push-up bra for hockey fans.
No,
Like
literally.
you can't look bad with a Hawks
That's
jersey.
pretty true. That's a great analogy.
A
Yeah.
red Hawks jersey is just so classic. It's so
Yep. The
it's
white one is clean too that Nick was rocking. And
yeah.
the Nike ones that Nick and I had
Oh,
too. Those are bring Nike back to NHL, please.
I'd love to see them get the black ones involved again too. I think those are
Yes.
unbelievable.
Yep. My roommate Jason was rocking one of those from the the Adidas era, I think, or the Reebok era, maybe.
It was a Reebok one, I'm
Yeah,
pretty
Reebok.
sure.
Real quick, last thing, just because we talked about this before the show, and I think some people might want to know. Nick, speaking of jersey manufacturers, I think you mentioned you just got one of the uh I don't want to maybe like the lower level Fanatics jersey.
Yeah, it's the entry one they have. So it's what they've got, the breakaway one, they have the premier one, and then the authentic one now, which is $450 that no one will buy. I can
Hmm.
just tell them that now. Got this from shop.nhl.com, which I usually don't buy from, but it was heavily discounted. Pretty happy with it so far. There's definitely like one or two things I would change, but all in all, I'm pretty happy with it for, you know, quote unquote, straight from the manufacturer jersey here.
Good to know. It's like an iron on, right? It's not stitched, obviously.
It is stitched. It's
Oh,
not like that, or it's fake stitched.
okay. Fair
Yeah.
enough. Fair enough. The people need to know for
Yeah.
sure.
I'll let you
Because
know how many of the numbers come off the first time I wash it.
Alrighty, and now we are going to move on to real hockey stuff. But before we do, we have a word from one of our new sponsors, Game Time.
That's right. There is absolutely nothing like watching hockey live. You guys know this. The chill of the ice, the sound of the puck, and screaming for your favorite team. Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live even easier than before. I got my Caps tickets for this week on Game Time, and now you can too. Game Time's deals make it easier to find the best prices on the best seats, and you can even see a panoramic view from your seats before you pay. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time Picks. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code THPN for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and use code THPN for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game Time.
Set hut. Damn, fire me up, Nick. Let's go. All right. The NHL comes to Salt Lake City, and my oh my, what a first week it has been for the Utah Hockey Club. They had their home opener, the season opener actually. Quite a bold move to do a weekday game in Utah at 1 p.m., but stay hot NHL. They wonder why the ratings are down. Utah Hockey Club has their first game last Tuesday, and my oh my, that atmosphere looked unbelievable. People ripping beers out of their shoes in the crowd. Apparently, there was an all-time record in beer sales for the Delta Center, and the hometown boys come out with a statement 5-2 win over the Chicago Blackhawks. Dylan Gunther, we'll talk about him a little more in a second, gets the first goal in Utah Hockey Club history on a nice little, what I will call fadeaway one-timer. Pretty impressive. And they're off to a hot start. Your thoughts on the first game as a whole, just the presentation and all that jazz?
I thought they did a pretty good job with it. They were really hyping the pregame stuff going on outside. I know that arena is not full NHL size. I think it's like what, like half, just about, maybe like two-thirds the size of an NHL barn right now, but they packed it, they made it loud. Looks like everyone had a great time. Record beer sales, which if you know about Utah, you know that's awesome. So yeah, it was awesome to see. It's great to see, how involved this owner is with this team and how much he cares about this team. I think, coming from Arizona, that has to be the biggest breath of fresh air for this hockey team.
Yeah, I mean, there's no way around it. Sucks a lot, like what happened with the Coyotes situation. And, if you're a hockey fan in that area, I'm sure it's just brutal to try and like latch onto that team, not be able to go to games, that kind of stuff. But
Or watch.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for that Heat Daddy
Talk
tweet.
about
I mean,
this.
that's just a whole nother thing. But overall, I mean, it is pretty hype what's going on in Utah right now. And it's exciting. And more than anything, it's exciting for the players, right? I think we talked a little bit about last episode, but it's exciting for them to finally be able to plant their feet a little bit and not have like such a big question mark hanging over the whole franchise and just kind of know like, hey, this is home. Take your coat off, stay a while, make yourself comfortable, and go play hockey. Focus on the game for once, right? I mean, these players have been through so much. Some of the guys that have been there the last 3-4 years, I can't imagine how refreshing it is for some of them to just be able to freaking focus on what they're getting paid to do and play.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, the arena they've played in the last 2 years at Mullet is probably smaller than the arena most of those guys played in junior or in college, wherever they were prior to going pro. So I'm sure to, have to play in a place like that. I don't know how it doesn't kill your morale a little bit. No disrespect to those guys. They played through it. I thought they, did a great job of putting their best foot forward on the ice while they had to do that. But I mean, skating out in those brand new sweaters into that building with that amount of noise has to just feel like the best thing in the world for every single one of them.
Touch on two things you guys said. Nick, just off a quick Google search, the Delta Center has a seating capacity of 18,300 for basketball, and then it goes down by 2,000 for ice hockey. It says
Okay, that's not bad.
16,200. Yeah. So a little less, but not too significant. And then Mac, I have to read this for the listeners in case they haven't seen it. So Mac touched on the local TV blackout restrictions for the Arizona fans who want to watch their old squad up in Utah. Apparently, that's not allowed these days. Our good friend and former guest of the program, Heat Daddy, had a very viral tweet that got 1.5 million views, and I will read it. Nick, if you have to bleep out any editing, I apologize in advance, but
Just, yeah, it's fine. This is worth
his
it.
his tweet is Utah gets blacked out in Arizona. How about you just show up to my house and kick my fucking ass too? I mean, seriously, I can't even go to a goddamn NHL game in the state I live in. And now you are claiming Utah as a local broadcast in Arizona and I can't watch on ESPN Plus? When does the pain stop? It's a different franchise now. You can't treat Utah hockey like an Arizona team anymore. Fucking pathetic. Now I'm definitely going out tonight. I'll show you a blackout, buddy. Unbelievable.
Tweet of the year.
So good. Yeah. I mean, he's right. How about you just fucking show up to my house and kick my ass too while you're at it? I will say this is not a unique to like Utah, Arizona issue. As a Wisconsin resident who there is no NHL team in Wisconsin, like this might blow some of your minds. It blew my mind when I first figured it out. Minnesota Wild games are blacked out for me. I cannot watch the Minnesota Wild play hockey, not the Blackhawks. I can watch
Well,
the Blackhawks all I want.
congratulations.
Oh, yeah. Well, yes, you're right. I don't have to be bored bored to sleep. But I mean they I'm just saying that to basically prove the point that they're just making shit up. Like they're just
Yeah.
making up rules. Like, I don't know, the closest team here, Minnesota. Like they don't even fucking know. How would that make any sense? The
Uh,
Blackhawks are way closer. Why would that not be
right.
blacked out? Why would anything be blacked out? Because that you know what? I could talk for like 2 hours about this, but I'm not going to.
Another great example. You guys stayed at the beach with me this year. Orioles games are blacked out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's in the same state.
Yeah.
Isn't the purpose of a blackout, correct me if I'm wrong here, isn't the purpose of a blackout to be like, oh, we're blacking this out on the ESPN Plus coverage because this is, you should be able to turn on your local channel and get this
Right.
on local TV. Like that's the point, right?
Yes, they want
That's
the
my
local
understanding.
coverage to
So
get
then
viewers.
why in the fuck would the Minnesota Wild game be on in Wisconsin, or why would the Utah, like that doesn't make any fucking sense. I
If
mean,
like there's no, I feel like in your situation, like Blackhawks should be green light, the Blues should be green light, and Minnesota should be green light. Like those are the three that
yeah.
should not be blacked out.
None of them would be on local TV. It's not
Right.
Wisconsin sports. What, like if you live in a state where there's no NHL team, nothing should be blacked out. It's
Correct.
that simple.
It's like when they redistrict the school lines just so they can even out the distribution of funds for county money. It's
Just so you
Yeah,
can get
they're
Adam Banks to come play for
gerrymandering.
you.
They're
yeah.
gerrymandering the NHL is basically what you're
Yeah.
Yes.
saying. You're
Yeah.
absolutely right.
No, but like I
Yes.
think it's a great point, Mac. Like if you're the NHL or if you're ESPN Plus, whatever, fastest way for you to grow this game is to get people to watch it on TV.
Yeah, I don't know
And
what the fuck the
one of
point
the
of that shit
easiest way to
is.
do that is no blackouts in a state with no NHL team.
Yeah, doesn't make any sense. Anyway,
Let's talk a little bit more about Utah. They are off to a 3-1 start. They were 3-0, but they fell to the Devils on Monday night. They did their little New York swing there with the Islanders, Rangers, and Devils. They come out of that road trip 2-1, beat the Islanders and the Rangers, and that Rangers game was a hell of a game. I think it was a 6-5 overtime finish. Clayton Keller with a nice little roof job backhand to silence MSG. What are your guys'
I,
thoughts on
I was just gonna say,
Utah?
what fantasy hockey team does Clayton Keller play for? Probably a really good one, right?
Well, one that's losing to me right now, but yeah,
One
that's
that's gonna win, but
gotcha.
One that's not going to beat either of you are not going to beat me once this year. So
So Nick, I gotta ask you because I feel like this is one of your guys. When the Dylan Gunther deal went down, everyone was like, "Whoa, I don't know." Now he's got 5 goals through their first 4 games, leading the NHL through week one. What are your thoughts on just him and Utah as a whole?
So for me, Dylan Gunther, obviously comes out of the World Juniors and Junior with a ton of hype. It was a little bit of a slow start in Arizona. I don't know if that's just because he wasn't getting a lot of ice time, wasn't with the right people, wasn't playing a ton, whatever. Comes to Utah, clearly catches lightning in a bottle. Clearly they saw something, during the offseason. That's why he got this deal. But I think it's kind of hard for me to watch these first couple games and say we're not looking at one of the best shots in the NHL right now.
An absolutely lethal release. And like I said, it's kind of like a fadeaway one-timer that he got on that like first goal of the season. I don't even know how to describe what that was. Mac, you think Utah's for real? I mean, are we talking like playoffs?
I don't know. I mean, going into the season, I was actually pretty big on them. What they did in Arizona last year, I thought they looked like they were pretty much right there. So it's really not surprising to me to see them, you talk about as good as they were at the end of last year with all the shit to deal with in Arizona. And then obviously, like we just talked about, you fix some of those issues. You clear the head a little bit, you focus on hockey, and you also get a little bit better. It's no surprise to me that they're looking good. I think they're definitely the real deal, and I would not be surprised if they made the playoffs.
I think the key for them is just going to be keeping this momentum going. Obviously you can look at the back end and say maybe you've got some concerns on defense, maybe on depth you're looking here or there, but I really like what I'm seeing out of this team. It seems like they are all in on what they have going for them. And I think, similar to like Seattle or Vegas, getting into a new setting and just having a fan base that is 100% behind you and excited that you're there is just going to give you so much of a momentum boost when you're playing at home.
Yeah, next 3 games coming up. They're going back out west. They've got the Ducks on the road tonight, Wednesday, the day you're listening to this. And then they come back home. They've got the Bruins on Saturday and then the Senators on Tuesday. So keep an eye out for that. Let's see if they can stay hot. The number one overall pick, Macklin Celebrini, scores in his first NHL game against the St. Louis Blues. A little bit of controversy about whether this is a cool first goal to have or not. For those who haven't seen it, he comes down the right wall, a little backhand spanorama. He was trying to pass the puck, but it ended up going off one of the St. Louis defenders' skates and bouncing in the net. Looked kind of cool, but then you're like, it bounced off the skate. What do you guys think? Cool goal or no?
Doesn't matter. They don't ask how, they ask how many.
Well said. Took the words right out of my mouth.
Yeah, but like you did you like, went off the guy's skate.
It's got more goals in the NHL than I do.
No, I'm not saying that. It's just like
There you
people are
go.
like, is that how you if you were playing in the NHL, like, is that how you would want your first goal to be? Like, I don't
No,
know.
I understand the question, but I'm just saying it doesn't fucking matter because he's in the NHL. And I feel like, I mean, in like, I would say in 20 years, but even in like 20 days, no one's probably going to give a shit because he's just going to be lighting the lamp all the time, and they're just going to be like, "Oh, cool, he's just a regular now." I mean, if anything, it'll be a funny story, right? Like
Yeah.
we'll get the recording in 20 years. Tell us about your first NHL goal, and he'll be like, "Oh, it was kind of a weird play.
It's
Bounced off
better
this
than it
guy's
being an
skate,
empty net.
whatever." Yeah.
You think?
Yeah.
I would love to hear a poll on that. What's a better first goal to have, an empty netter or
So
one off the skate?
do you not think it's a good first goal to have?
No, I think it's fun. I think because he did a spin. Well, let's clarify this. Yes, it doesn't matter. I get that. Not the question. I think because he did the spinorama, it's fine. If he didn't do the spinorama, it's kind of like, it's a
Like if
little
he just threw
anti,
something in
it's a
front of
little
the net.
anticlimactic. Yeah, I don't know,
Yeah.
in my opinion. But he did have 2 points in the first period of his first game. Tell me if that's good or not. Not really sure. But in some unfortunate news, he did get a hip injury in that game. He's on IR. He's going to miss at least 7 days as a result. So, uh, yeah, pretty cool moment with him and Will Smith doing their little rookie lap. Thought that was really, really awesome for Sharks
Yeah.
fans to see the two of them.
You guys know
Yeah,
who
I mean, I knew he was like really good in Men in Black. I just didn't know he was like a huge hockey fan and all that. But it was cool to see that kind of as a crossover. And yeah, it's awesome that he's that good at hockey too.
right.
Do you follow that account Greg on Twitter? It's just like Greg. It's
I
all
think so.
lowercase, and
Yeah.
he comments on super famous people's shit, and it's like very sarcastic, dumb humor. He would comment on the Sharks page like Will Smith thinks this. He's like, actually, he was performing in was it iRobot? I think back in the day. He's
Oh
like
yeah, or
and all
I
that.
Am Legend and whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Independence Day.
so
LOL.
funny. One of the best Twitter accounts.
You guys know
Um,
who one of Celebrini's biggest fans is, right?
no.
Draymond Green.
Oh yeah, no, I did see that. I did see that. That was pretty cool, even
Yeah.
though I'm not exactly a huge fan of his, but yes.
Go Green.
Sure,
All right,
whatever.
Harry, you want to jerk the Penguins off real quick or what?
Yeah, so just want to give a shout out for or a notice, not really a shout out for this. The day you're listening to this, the Penguins will play the Buffalo Sabres. Two gigantic milestones on tap here potentially. Evgeny Malkin is 1 goal away from scoring his 500th in his career, and Sidney Crosby is 1 point away from his 1600th point, which will actually put him officially number 10 all time. So everyone's saying, who gets the puck if Crosby assists Malkin's goal? You cut it in half.
Absolutely cut it in half.
I think you just take the skate sharpener and put that damn thing through it. But
Right.
I would. That's kind of fun.
Yeah.
it is kind of cool. I'm definitely gonna be betting that. If you're not betting Malkin anytime goal and Crosby anytime assist, I don't know what's wrong with you, but that's gonna be a fun one to bet. And also one more shout out to Gino, got his 1300th career point against the Leafs, only the 37th player to do that, and he also got his 800th career assist against the Wings. He is the all-time Russian assist leader. Pretty cool stuff. It was wild to see how far ahead him and Ovi are in Russian-born player stats
It's
all time.
insane.
Yeah, there's not really a close third. We'll see what Kucherov has to say one day, but um, gonna move on to the Avalanche. Just talk about them for a second. Obviously, not a great start. 0-3 to start the season. Georgiev, I think I read today, he's let in 20 goals. He's been pulled in both of his starts. Um, Four of their top six forwards are currently out. I know Max sent this to us the other day. They might have the worst bottom nine in the league at this point with these injuries.
It's not good. The only good thing they have going for them is they have the first player in NHL history to have the same first name and last name, Ivan playing for them. So that's fun. Other than that, this team I think is in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I actually, if you've been listening for a couple of years, you know that I love like shitting on the Avs. This is like one of the teams I like being not that big on when everyone's really big on them. I think they're immediately getting exposed for being super top heavy. And without just a couple of those dudes in the lineup because of injuries, they are just not a good hockey team. And if those guys can't come back soon, which a couple of them are not going to, I don't know what Drouin's timeline is, but the other guys are for sure gonna be a while. Um, yeah, I
But also, like getting Duran back in your lineup is not going to rocket propel your team
no,
to
it's not.
success.
And if the goalies are having issues, that isn't even big. I mean, I've always kind of been a little soft on Georgiev, like not a huge fan there, but he was kind of proving me wrong and like getting the job done for a little while there. That being said, yeah, if that trend continues, I don't even know what you do to fix that, but um yeah, they're in trouble for sure. They should be worried. I know it's early, but like they should be worried.
I got my own stat correction here. The Avalanche as a team have allowed 20 goals this season already. They've given up at least six in their first three games. Alex Georgiev, his season stats right now, a 6.58 GAA and a 787 save percentage. Not great. Not great. I think
Not
if you're
good
the
at all.
if you're the Avs, you just gotta play 500 hockey maybe till like Thanksgiving, and then after that, figure out where
I'd
the
say
injury bug is.
Christmas.
That's
Yeah,
a big ask. It's
Yeah.
a really big ask.
tough division too.
Hmm.
Last thing news related, and then we'll move into the discussions. Mac, I'm gonna toss this one off to you. A little LA Kings tidbit that maybe not a lot of fans are aware of.
Yeah, so I got a little soft spot for the Kings. Always like this team, fun hockey team, want to see them succeed and exercise the playoff demons, get past Edmonton one of these years. Uh, they have had a real rough start to this season, and it's no fault of their own, really. I mean, obviously they lost Doughty. That sucks. He's going to be out quite some time. But here's something I noticed the other day that I didn't really know, and maybe some of you don't either. The Kings are on the road for their first 7 games. They don't open at home until October 24th. And they had 0 actual home games in their actual arena during the preseason. They played at Utah, at Vegas, and at Anaheim. And then each of their quote unquote home exhibition games were actually at neutral sites. Ontario, California, that's where the Ontario Reign played in the AHL. And then the last two were actually in Quebec City against Boston and Florida, which means pretty sure the Kings flew to Quebec City on the 1st of October and have been on the road basically since then and lost Doughty in the middle of all that. So I mean that's what the Kings are going through right now. They lost 8-7 in OT to Ottawa on Monday. Kemper gave up all 8 of those goals on 41 shots, 4 more on the power play. So don't know how much you can really blame Kemps on those as well. Um, just kind of a whirlwind to start. It almost reminds me of like what the Islanders had to deal with, 2 years ago or
Yep.
whatever that was, where they were just on the road constantly for the first half of the season. I mean, I don't really know what the reason for this is. It is LA. I'm sure there's a bunch of concerts at LA Live and whatever else is going on there, but that's tough. That's really tough.
Yeah, that's brutal. I don't, that's like a February West Coast road trip that like teams go on where, from the East where they're just
Yeah.
out for like 10 days. But I mean, that is brutal, especially to
Just
start the
start your
season,
season. Yeah.
losing arguably your most important player who has been there for what, 15 years now?
It's a rough ride. A lot of travel in there, being away from home for that long, losing your best player. Yeah, it's a tough start for the LA Kings. All right, we are going to move on to our discussion portion of the episode. But before we do, I think Mac has a word from our friends over at DraftKings.
I sure do. The quest for the Stanley Cup starts now. The puck's dropping on the 24-25 season. Get in on all the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. It's super easy for first timers to get started. Try betting on something simple like picking a team to win. Go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app, select your team, and place your first bet. If you are new to DraftKings, listen up. New customers bet $5 to get 200 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code THPN. That's code THPN for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 and over. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in New Hampshire, Oregon, and Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/ftball. NFL Plus premium offer available only to new and former NFL Plus subscribers. Additional NFL Plus premium terms at nfl.com/terms.
All right, let's start dunking on the Rangers. The season's young. We got to start hot.
Let's go. Hell yeah. Team me up.
Half our audience just tuned out. Anyways, the Rangers getting a lot of heat on the internet. They added a 2023-2024 regular season champions banner to the rafters of MSG. I think I already know the answer to this one, but I would love to ask you two guys what your thoughts are on this.
Loser.
Yeah. I saw the picture of all that shit like next to each other in the rafters too. Just
This to me is
lame.
like raising like that certificate you get when you move from pre-K to like kindergarten to the rafters.
Yep. No, that's
Because it also doesn't matter.
So let me ask this question, because I think we're all in agreement. I think the whole internet's in agreement. This is very cringy. Would it
Yeah.
be more acceptable if they hung a banner that said President's Trophy winner?
I mean, I think most teams do hang a
Yeah.
banner for this kind. I don't know if it's the actual banner itself that's embarrassing, but is it that they had a ceremony? Is that what like?
I
Don't have a ceremony. If they did that, that's extreme.
No, I don't think they did. I think the problem is that it says the word champion in it. is what
Oh,
most people
okay.
are
I
saying.
I see.
Like, oh, we won the regular season. Like, I
Right.
feel like if you say
And
President's
how did that
Trophy,
go?
well,
Right.
yes.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'd have to know what the other teams do. I mean, what's funny is this is the exact type of shit that Rangers fans would like be eating up other fan bases over. You know
Exactly.
Oh, 100%.
Harry, I
100%.
think President's Trophy is fine. Definitely don't do any sort of like literally everyone comes in for the new season. Oh, look, there it is. That's
Yeah,
it. You
that's
know,
fine.
that's
Yeah.
it.
It's up there. Yeah.
But regular season champions is just that means nothing
So,
to any hockey fan ever. That means absolutely nothing.
While we're dunking on the Rangers, can I throw something kind of funny in here real quick?
of course.
I was at a concert on what Friday night, Saturday night. I can't remember which. Over the weekend.
Concert.
Yeah, I know. I go to a lot of concerts. It was the Hotline TNT show this weekend at the Cactus Club in Milwaukee. Small venue, great show. I'm waiting outside and smoking a cigarette, but talking to some friends, and I see this guy wearing a Rangers Zuccarello jersey, blue tarp, nice looking jersey. I gotta admit. Come up with his buddy and go up the stairs to get in the venue. And I finished my cigarette. I went in right behind him. This is a sold out show, mind you. Very tiny club. They don't have tickets. They're trying to buy tickets. Sorry, bud, sold out. He's putting up a huge fight. Like, what do you mean? Blah, blah, blah. Won't take no for an answer. They're like, dude, I don't know what to tell you. It's sold out. Like, get the fuck out of here. Like, they're starting to literally be like, dude, like, get the fuck out of here. So they kind of like kicked him out, essentially. And he's like bitching to his friend on the way out, like, oh, I'll beat the shit out of that guy, like whatever, like all this shit. I'm like, okay, buddy. Leaves. And then like, I don't know, an hour later after the opener already went on, I'm like outside again. And he comes back, tries to get back in, and they literally had to like throw his ass out. He's freaking throwing the N-word around, by the way, like just being the worst human being ever. All while representing your New York Rangers. So
If the shoe
classy,
fits.
real classy. Yep.
Yeah, not a good week for. Well, actually, I guess that wasn't on the internet, but the Ravens debacle, that was an interesting one.
Yeah.
That's a local one. Happened a mile from where I live.
Yeah, that made me not real proud either.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was rough.
Sports fans in general.
Yeah, no, hear that. Talk a little bit more about the Rangers here. The Igor Shesterkin drama. The all-world goaltender has allegedly denied an 8-year, $88 million extension that comes out to 11 AAV. For those who don't do the math, uh, what should the Rangers do here? It's rumored from 32 Thoughts that Shesterkin wants to be the highest paid player on the Rangers. That would put him above Panarin at 11.6.
When has it ever worked out for a team to have their highest paid player be their goalie? Is Bob?
I was going to say, I think Bob is.
I guess it did just work out.
Okay, so once.
But before that,
before that, I'm trying to
it basically never works. So just cautionary tale there.
No, I'm thinking like Vasi, no. Kemper at the time, definitely no. Like, yeah, I can't really think of one.
The Rangers in this situation need to level with this goaltender. And they also need to they need to learn from their neighbors. They need to look next door at the New York Islanders, who spent a fuck ton of money on a goaltender that they are still paying and ended up playing, what, 4 more seasons for them? Like, this is why you don't throw bags at goaltenders. That is why. Because one season it's fine, the next season it's not. And this is a huge goalie stand podcast. We love our attendees, but I wouldn't do it.
You're not going to pay Igor?
I mean, here's the other
I'm not going to pay him north of 11 and a half.
I know he's like a generational goalie. He's like probably going to be the best goalie in the league for the next like half a decade or whatever. But goalies are seeming to get like more and more replaceable as time goes on. Like there's always some young, hot, no-name goalie who's just getting the job done for some, you know what I mean? Like
I'll give you that.
It's not a 7-year goalie contract league anymore. It's a 4-year goalie contract.
I'm not saying don't pay him, but I am saying they have some leverage here to be like, well, look at this guy and look at this guy. Like you could be replaced, not that the Rangers want to let him walk. I'm not saying do that before you guys all climb down my throat here, but I think I'm with Nick. I think they need to kind of level with this guy. I think what they offered should have been more than enough. He's getting a little greedy here, and I don't know how it's going to shake out.
The other thing is here, like,
you go.
In 2 years, there will be a newest, highest paid goaltender in the NHL. It's the wide receiver complex. It's the quarterback complex. It's just every year we go, someone's going to be the most highest paid player, and then it just doesn't matter in 2 years.
So I think right now, like Carey Price has the record for highest AAV. I don't know about total, but I think he was at like 10 and a half or something like that. I don't see how the Rangers can't not pay this guy. He is the New York Rangers. Like actually,
just real quick though, Mac, how many Stanley Cups did the Montreal Canadiens and Carey Price win?
Hold on, let me count. Let me get my calculator. Let me punch in a couple numbers.
Yeah, but you can
switch it. Make sure you switch it to French too. It's the Canadiens.
Yep. Bebop, ski bop,
but also
beep. 0.
Bob just won.
Yeah, but like
he makes $10 million a year.
But you also don't need to pay a goalie that much to win the Stanley Cup. Look, the Caps did it with Braden Holtby.
Well, I get that, but like the DNA, it depends how you build your team. I mean,
Knights did it with Aiden Hill.
Right.
Yeah, I get that, but like
Avs did it with Darcy Kemper.
It's shown that, but the Panthers just did it with Sergei Bobrovsky, and he's
their once.
Though. They're the exception.
Best player.
Yeah,
you're gonna let Igor Shesterkin walk. Like what? You can't let him walk.
He's not going to walk, though. That's the thing.
Yes. Before Bob did it, like the last 3 years, everybody was saying what a dumb ass contract that was too, because he was kind of sucking for a while. Like my point is,
Bob's also like in his mid-30s.
I mean, but never has like a massive goalie contract worked out for the entirety of that deal. And like, I know that in general with contracts getting longer, like I'm going to sound like fucking old man Lou now, but like no one deserves these long contracts.
No,
really, if you're looking at it from a standpoint of like, is the contract good every year for the entirety of the year? It never is. So I get that, but I don't know what I would do. I mean, the Rangers are kind of handcuffed. I see it both ways. I get what you're
Yeah.
saying here. They kind of have to do it, and they
Just
probably will. But it is pretty
don't
fucking
do it
stupid
per year.
at the
Just
same time.
front load the hell out of a signing bonus if that's what he wants.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
He's their best player, so he
Yeah.
probably should be their highest paid player. I like he's
I
easily
understand that logic,
Yeah.
but I just I just think with the way the league is right now,
also he's
it's like why in the NFL you don't see anyone giving a running back a 5-year contract.
Hmm.
well, that's true, but there's always those unicorns, right? Like, there's probably two guys that you could say running
Yeah.
back wise were worth maybe some deals. Maybe Saquon and maybe Derrick Henry, just how
I
long they've
wouldn't even say
lasted.
Right.
Saquon, but yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
because injured, yeah. But like my thing about Igor is like there's no injury history. He's clearly capable of playing in the playoffs. This is not like
Yeah.
a Marc-Andre Fleury thing where it's like, hey, what goes on in the playoffs? He is the real deal.
He's
I think
essentially never really had like I mean, I guess what? He was a
never
little shaky for like
Yeah.
a couple weeks last year or something like that when Mark was like, "Oh, Igor sucks now" or something.
he's never been yeah, he's like I don't know. I do agree with you though, Mac, that like there just does seem to be more goalies out there where they come out of nowhere and it's like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Well, that's what I'm saying. If you're the Rangers, do you try and use that? Or you like, look, we could replace you? Which I mean, I don't know that he would call that bluff, but also you don't want to go down the Swayman route and start this like
Right.
oh yeah.
petty argument. So that's why you might be right, Harry, that the move might just be to be like, yes, dear, go get my pocketbook, like
Fuck it and
And
pay him.
And Nick, I'll give you this, even though I disagree with your take. There are a lot of people who also agree you don't tie that much money up in a goalie just because they don't play
yeah.
every game, and
Yeah.
there's a lot of them coming up, like Max said, where they just kind of come out of nowhere. And there are a lot of goalies in
I
recent
mean,
years.
hey, Jonathan Quick was fucking great for them last year. How about you just pay him 2 million
Right.
bucks and say, Igor, go fuck yourself?
They ain't win a cup with
Jonathan Quick's like,
Jonathan.
I have to pay how many games this year?
Yeah, they ain't win a cup with that. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I think they pay him.
I'm
I think
just
they
trying to
should pay him.
trigger Rags fans right now if I haven't
Yeah, I think
already.
that's
I'm
become
sure
pretty
I'm
clear.
sure I did that by telling my little concert story already, but
They were
whatever.
triggered when you said the word Igor, let alone anything else after that.
All right, let's move on from that because I think we've angered enough people up in the wonderful state of New York. But what's been your biggest surprise so far through the first week of the season, fellas? Let's start with Nick.
Pleasant surprise. It's going to be Dylan Gunther. I mean, did not expect him to get off to this hot of a start. Absolutely thought this was going to be a bounce back year for this guy, playing in Utah versus playing in Arizona. But I mean, 5 points, 5 goals through 4 games. Dude looks unbelievable. Shot looks insane. These back foot one timers that he's hitting. I couldn't hit the side of a barn if I tried to shoot the puck that way. So I got to go with him. It's hard to pick against. Hard to pick against that for me.
Sounds a little puck hoggish. 5 goals, 5 points, no assists. Just putting that out there. But no, I'm
Rockstar hockey, baby.
messing around here. Mac, your big surprise through week one.
The Calgary Flames being 3-0, I love it. They've had, a medium schedule. I think they beat the Flyers, but they also beat the Oilers, held the Oilers to a single tally in that contest. And they also have scored 16 goals across those 3 games. So they're kind of scoring at will. Yeah, impressive. I know it's only 3 games, but that's what we're here to talk about is the early overreactions and exaggerations. And so far, Flames are hot. I like it.
Shout out to two guys over there. Jonathan Huberdeau looking very good.
Happy
this
for
week
him.
one.
Yeah.
Huge happy
Oh,
for him.
rooting for that guy for sure. How could you not?
And a guy on a really good fantasy team, not sure whose it is, but Rasmus Anderson also looking pretty spicy to start the season. So shout out to those two. My big surprise actually will not be a team. It's going to be 3 players. I am stunned that all 3 of these guys have played 3 games and nobody has scored a goal. That being Matthews, McDavid, and Crosby. Pretty wild. Definitely. I'm actually on McDavid to score tonight as we're recording this. You might have seen that on Twitter, but yeah, pretty surprising there.
Yeah, I think if anyone was to bet on them not scoring, I mean, I can't even comprehend that we're at this point in the season and those guys like haven't scored a goal yet. I mean, Gunther's got 5, they don't have one. I mean,
Yeah.
who had
Yeah.
that on 2024 bingo?
Yeah, no, I'm especially the Matthews one. Like the values for him to score are so outrageous. I wouldn't sniff that right now.
Plus, like everyone was all over him to score in that first game too.
Yep,
And by
yep.
everyone, I mean
Yeah, no, I hear you. All right, last discussion point here. And Nick, I think you have a lot of words on this one, but your first impressions of NHL 25. I know a lot of listeners are playing Chell. We're all fans of Chell over here, but Nick, your overall impressions.
everyone loves Chell. Had to get the new Chell just to give it a whirl here. Mixed impressions so far. Graphics are great, but I put that more on the system than I put it on the game itself. EA has made these games for how many years now? I mean, they went back to like the 90s, right? So we're probably getting close to 30 years. In the last 10 years, I think EA has really fallen off. We've seen it with Madden, we've seen it with the disaster that is the FIFA game now, that is now branded as FC 25. We can't even call it FIFA anymore. We started to see it with Chell, where basically after Chell 15, the game didn't change. They got rid of all the cool stuff from Chell 15, and then they just basically made it a boilerplate game going forward. Gameplay is fun. The improved one timer thing that they really focused on is cool. It is also a little bit unrealistic. I mean, some of the one timers that you can hit from like the goal line or from like backpedaling outside the blue line, like they just, wouldn't make sense. But, it is what it is. I will say it like players open up for one timers a lot better. It's easy to find, if you're doing franchise mode, which that's primarily what I do, you can find your teammates for one timers very, very easily, which is nice. In the past, I felt like they were just like brain dead, especially on the power play. It was like the AI had no idea what to do. Much better now. Um, Not a big fan of the change to the interface. Just like the menu screen and that kind of stuff. They like you now like if you're in franchise mode, you're like scrolling through things using the bumpers instead of the left stick and stuff like that. It can get like a little bit annoying at first. I'm starting to get used to it now. I've had it for only like a week or so, so take that with a grain of salt. But cautiously optimistic, that this is going to continue to be solid. I think that hopefully in the coming months we get one or two updates that smooth out some bugs because that's just how video games go in 2024. They don't release them complete. They have to constantly work on them. So yeah, so far so good ish.
I like your analysis of like it feels like a roster update more so for the last 10 years. I will be
Right.
fully transparent. I have owned every single EA Sports NHL game from 2002 until 2023. Last year, 24 was the first year I didn't buy it, and I did not buy this year's either. Sounds like I didn't miss much last year. I think there's been a lot of changes to this year's. Like I said, I still haven't bought it. Maybe if Nick gives me an above 8.0 out of 10, I might try. But yeah, it does. Ever since 15, I think it was, they moved to the PS4. What a horrific game that left a sour taste in my mouth with Bergeron on the cover. Not because it was Bergeron on the cover, but the game itself. It was just they didn't even try to make the game. Um, yeah, I don't know. Chell '08 to like Chell 13 will always be goated in my opinion.
So good.
Absolutely. That
So
was the
good.
goat for the FIFA era too. I mean, they were just on top of their shit then. And
Yep.
even like I know like 15 wasn't the best game, but like they had some game modes where they had like those scenarios where it's like
Hmm.
the Bruins Leafs playoff thing where it's like you're down by 2 goals and you need to tie it to send it to overtime and then win the game. Like those were fun. Why can't you bring something like that back now? It just seems like
Right.
like Harry, like you said, they just do like a roster update every year. And if that's going to be the case, I'd rather just buy the game once and then pay them yearly for a roster update.
Mac, you got any thoughts? I don't know if you bought the newest one.
I haven't yet. I am huge on that roster update idea. That's the main thing I want. I don't really even care if the game changes that much, but I don't want to pay for a whole new game that's exactly the same as the thing.
Right.
So like if I could just download a roster update for like $10, I absolutely would,
Yeah.
Or like, I mean, if I had to pay the $70 it is to get the game new for the roster update for like the new season, I would still do it.
Yeah, I don't know. I will probably end up getting it. I similar to last year, I was initially like, oh, I don't know, but then like I think I think I waited a few months and then Xbox gave me some kind of like, oh, it's
So
$30 now or whatever, and I caved. It'll probably be the same thing this year. I'll probably eventually get it and switch over, mostly just to have the new rosters and just to, I'll have too much FOMO if I fall behind too far. Because I did that one year. I didn't buy it for like 2 years. And then I got the new one. And then it was like the gameplay had really like changed a lot. You know what I mean? Like they make minor adjustments every year, but if you're
mhm.
not making those minor adjustments with the game every
Yep.
year, then all of a sudden you're shell shocked and you try to play online and you're like, holy shit, I don't even know how to play this game anymore. So um I'll probably eventually get it, but I'm definitely I'm taking notes from what Nick says and we'll evaluate.
The other thing I would love to see them do is like, I know we don't have the Olympics right now. Like, I don't care. Give me Olympic tournament mode, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Come on. And not like this
International.
half-brained, like where Team USA's home rink is Cap One because that's the capital of the United States. Like, come on, do better than that. Give me like the opportunity to like play the 2026 Olympics now because we already know where it's going to be.
Mhm.
Whether you allow Russia in it or not, I don't care. Just put them in the damn game, man. Like it's we're not asking for that much at this point.
Now let's shoot for the stars and get NCAA teams incorporated in here. And then
Thank you. That's another huge thing that I think
That'd be
needs to be
so
added.
sick.
Because, like, the
That'd be
fact that,
so
like,
cool.
some teams don't have prospects that you can call up just because they happen to play in college versus the CHL,
pretty dumb.
don't even get me
Yeah,
started.
that sucks.
It's a bunch of legal stuff probably, but yeah.
Right. Like, I can't call up the entire Spartan team to the Washington Capitals. What the fuck, guys? Come on.
Speaking of roster update, if you're a Caps fan, I mean, I'd pay $10 to get PLD on my team too. It's a great deal. It's a great deal. Uh oh man, you guys crack me up. All right. Good discussion, fellas. We're solving the shell problems one by one. We're gonna move on to the gambling segment, then trivia, and then we will wrap up.
I don't
Uh
see just glazing over these names you're about to talk about. I don't see Rucker McGrory on there anyway
oh
anywhere.
yeah.
I thought he was like gonna save the team or something like that. So I don't know. It's just weird
Mm-hmm.
that I don't think I've heard anything about him either.
I think someone deked
Yeah.
him out of his laces the other day, too.
Yeah, I did see
Mhm.
that. I did see that. That's right. He was in the
Yeah.
news. You're right.
Yeah, like unlike your team, we actually can convince our young studs to actually want to play for us and not go
Okay.
back to school. So,
Hold on. Hold
Yeah,
on.
Jari's been good
whoa.
too so
Are
far.
we going to
Yeah.
talk about the fact that someone on this podcast was literally at end of days, like this team sucks again after
Dude, that's
game one?
it's every Thursday. Like watch my Twitter follow me on Twitter. It's the same thing all the time. It's a little reverse jinx. It's a little bit of a psycho.
No,
Yeah.
all right. Tell these people how to win money.
Yes. Before I do, make sure you go download Prop Tracker. Prop Tracker is your home for player prop research and finding outlier bets for NHL, NBA, NFL, and more. Once you find a bet you like, start tracking it to get notified on its progress, like shots, rebounds, or receptions. Go to proptrackerapp.com/emptybetters to try a free month on us. Just a reminder, the word tracker does not have the letter E in there. So it's PROPTRACKR app.com. Going to be tweeting out some more stats over from him as the season gets a few more games under its belt. We'll run through this quick. Right now, some goal scorers with some great value. We've already sucked off Dylan Gunther 1,000 times this episode, so you know about him. You probably already know about Cole Caulfield. Started the season off with a 3-game goal scoring streak, but two guys on the Devils who are tickling some twine here early in the season: Paul Cotter and Seamus Casey. I think Paul Cotter's got 4 goals. Seamus Casey has 3. It's
Do
pretty
you guys
stellar.
know how many goals Paul Cotter had last year?
I think he had 4, right?
He had 4.
So he's got the same amount in week 1 as he did all of last year.
Yeah.
Happy for Devils fans. Look at that. Nick, I know Go Blue, you're not going to like this, but Seamus Casey, this kid's nasty.
Yeah, he's unreal.
That wrister. cocks it back Matthews style, rips, skates like the wind too. Um, Already talked about this earlier, but just keep an eye on Matthews, McDavid, and Crosby this week for goal scorer bets, especially if they still haven't scored yet. I know it'll be yesterday by the time this drops, but McDavid, maybe he scored against the Flyers. I hope he did. That was my big bet for the night. Let's talk some assist props. Jack Eichel and Evgeny Malkin leading the way assist wise in the NHL. They look great. Ricard Raquel's woken up, so that's good for Malkin. Be on the lookout for his assists. Maybe some other names you're not super keen on. Kyrou, he's been great for assists. Cooley, Shea Theodore, and then this last one. This is going to be a cash cow. I got a big feeling. Lane Hudson is that dude. After watching that Pens Montreal game in full, that kid's the real deal. He's good. He should probably have like 8 assists on the season by now. I think he only has 4. I say only. They've only played 4 games, but you can get that like plus 160 every night. That's great value.
That dude's skating coach deserves like the ultimate raise.
It's insane. I think I tweeted this too. Like I couldn't even it was like McCarr and Hughes kind of like blended, but honestly, he's like Allen Iverson on skates, like these head
Literally.
fakes. These we all saw the Brady Kachuk thing where he was imitating him like this. It's true. This kid's he like moves his whole body. It's like he's doing a dance when he's on the blue line. It's crazy.
And I feel like for most people, like that, like you can do that on a basketball court with grippy ass basketball shoes on. Doing that
Yeah.
on skates is not easy.
Yeah. No, it's he's unbelievable to watch. I would highly recommend tuning in on Montreal because he's some must-watch TV. Maybe some teams to target: Utah, Calgary, and Montreal, all off to decent starts this year, getting some fat underdog value on those guys. And then maybe 2 teams that you could target against. And funny enough, they're 31 and 32nd in the NHL, which is really funny to think about. The Oilers and the Avalanche. Calgary and Chicago, I think they were both like plus 240 against Edmonton. Both of them beat them. So definitely keep an eye out for that. But we'll get some more good stats as we get some more games under us. But that wraps it up now for the gambling corner. Trivia, Nick, Mac, who's taking the reins?
I've got a quick one. We'll keep it simple. I think you guys should be able to get this no problem, which is good because we're running a little long here. So here's the question I got for you guys. On October 15th, 2009, this player made history in his team's 5-2 victory over the LA Kings. He picked up 2 assists to become the first European-born defenseman to score 1,000 points in the NHL.
Who is Nicholas Lidstrom?
Ding, 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 ding.
That was gonna be my guess. Yeah.
I have another quick one if you guys are down.
Sure.
So Macklin Celebrini, we talked about him getting his goal or his first NHL goal in his debut. He is the 6th first overall pick to score in his debut since the year 2000. Can you give me the other 5?
Matthews, Ovechkin.
There's 2.
You said first overall, right?
First overall picks.
Did McDavid?
He did not.
Did did Kane?
He did not.
Taylor Hall?
Nope. Good on the team, though.
Nugent Hopkins.
Nailed it. So there's 3.
There's 2 more.
You need 2 more.
Are they closer to 2000 or closer to present day?
Oh, Jesus, you're going to make me sound old. Definitely closer to 2000.
Okay.
Both of these guys like think like mid like 05 to 2010 kind of like era.
Tavares?
Yep. There's 4.
Oh, good one, Harry. Good one.
Need the last one.
Let's see. Kind of same era as when he was drafted, Tavares.
Definitely before. This guy was actually drafted the earliest out of all of these guys. So before Ovi even.
So that means it's either 02 or 01 because Fleury was 03. Oof. First overall in 02. Damn.
Okay, it's got to be hold on. You're saying it's either 02 or 01? Wasn't that like
Kovalchuk?
Kovalchuk?
Nope.
He wasn't for. He might not have been first overall.
Good guess though. You're
Rick
in the
Nash. Rick
nailed
Nash.
it. There
Let's
you go.
go.
Yeah.
Let's
Nice. Good shit,
Nice.
Mac.
go. Was
Good
Nash
shit.
01 or 2? Or
02,
Kovalchuk was 01,
03.
right?
Nash was
Okay.
02, 03.
Okay, yeah. Nice.
Yep.
I feel
Money.
like we always forget about that guy and like how good he was just because
Oh,
of
yeah.
how bad Columbus was at that time.
Yeah. Yep.
Yep.
And then yeah, traded to the Rangers and also kind of sucked.
Speaking of bad players in the Blue Jackets, I know we're running long, but like last thing, I saw some stat today because they were talking about like college hockey prospects and such. I did not realize, and I'm not as dialed in as Nick is, so he probably knows this. Adam Fantilli has like the highest college points per game average like ever. Is
Oh,
what I
it's
saw.
so annoying.
He like it was like Eichel and a couple other like a ton of other Michigan guys, but number one was Fantilli, and I'm like I completely forgot Adam Fantilli's on like in the NHL because the Blue Jackets just didn't do anything last
Well,
year.
and he got hurt
Yeah.
last year.
And he
Yeah.
got hurt.
He
Yeah,
had
but
some bright spots though. I feel like he looked pretty good overall when he was healthy.
I mean, when he was playing at Michigan, I was like, this is Jonathan Taves, but faster and with a much better shot.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, he had better stats than Eichel did. So rooting for him, rooting for the Jackets tonight too. Big emotional night against the Florida Panthers last night when you're listening to this. Hoping they pull it out for the hometown fans. It's gonna be a rough
Absolutely.
evening for them. All right. Appreciate the love and support as always. If you guys don't have anything else, we'll wrap up. All righty. Without further ado,
Class dismissed.